There's a difficult truth that many of us have to face. Sometimes, the very people we trust the most are the ones who cause the greatest harm and chaos in our lives. You may have shared personal moments, laughed together, and believed you had found a true friend or a trustworthy companion. But over time, something feels off. You begin to feel drained, confused, and even start to question your perception. Today, we're diving into a topic that's as fascinating as it is unsettling. How can you tell when you're dealing with an evil person? Whether it's a colleague, a friend, or even a family member, there are people whose presence quietly erodes your peace of mind. They may appear warm, engaging, and kind on the surface, but behind that charm, something darker lurks. Stoic philosophy teaches us that recognizing the nature of those around us is the first step toward protecting our inner world. Through careful observation, sound judgment, and emotional clarity, we can identify the warning signs and remain steadfast in our values. In this video, we'll explore 5 clear signs that you may be dealing with someone whose intentions are far from good, and more importantly, how to stay grounded, wise, and resilient in the face of such individuals. Let's begin this journey of awareness and inner strength. 1. Superficial charm. When you meet someone charming, funny, and who seems genuinely interested in you, it's easy to believe you found someone special. They know how to start a conversation, make you laugh, and appear to be a great listener. But over time, if you pay close attention, you'll start to notice small cracks in their seemingly perfect facade. They always want to be the center of attention. They talk more than they listen. In conversations, they frequently interrupt you, turning the focus back to themselves. At times, they even subtly put you down in front of others, all under the guise of just joking. According to Stoic philosophy, we should never judge others based on appearances alone. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, do not be misled by appearances. Observe their actions and intentions. Calm reasoning and clear observation are our tools to see beyond the mask. Picture yourself at a social gathering. This person lights up the room, telling jokes, drawing everyone in. At first, it feels good to be near them, but soon, you notice you're not being heard. Every time you share something, the conversation shifts back to them. This isn't just an extroverted personality trait. It's a sign of subtle emotional manipulation where you're drawn into their orbit, slowly losing your voice, your space, and even your confidence without realizing it. The Stoics refer to this as apatheia, a state of being undisturbed by external forces. When you stay centered and approach interactions with reason, the truth becomes clearer. This isn't a genuinely kind or supportive person, but someone who uses charm to control how you feel, often for their gain. Recognizing this early helps protect your clarity before you're drawn into a relationship where you do all the giving and they take all the attention and control. 2. Lack of empathy. One of the clearest signs that you're dealing with an evil person is a lack of empathy. Empathy is the ability to feel and share the emotions of others. It's what allows us to connect deeply, to understand each other, and to offer support when it's needed most. But some people seem entirely devoid of this capacity. They don't care how their words or actions affect others. To them, everything revolves around their own needs, their image, and their own emotions. Imagine sharing something deeply personal with someone. hoping for a moment of connection or comfort. But instead of listening or showing concern, they dismiss your feelings with a cold remark. Worse, they might mock your vulnerability, making you regret that you ever opened up in the first place. People who lack empathy aren't just absent during your pain, they also fail to celebrate your joy. They might ignore your successes, downplay your achievements, or even find ways to take credit for what you've done. Stoic philosophy, especially through the words of Marcus Aurelius, emphasizes the importance of human connection. He once wrote, "We are made for cooperation, like 2 feet, 2 hands, or 2 eyelids." A person who cannot relate to the feelings of others is separating themselves from the very essence of what it means to be human. This lack of empathy often shows up in professional environments too. A boss who pushes employees to exhaustion without concern for their well-being. A coworker who avoids responsibility and blames others when things go wrong. These are not just bad habits, they are signs of a deeper disconnect from compassion and fairness. The Stoics remind us that such behavior is a reflection of their character, not ours. A person who lacks empathy lives outside the core Stoic virtues of justice, kindness, and wisdom. Sometimes the signs are small. Someone who constantly interrupts, who never asks how you feel, who refuses to help even when it's clear you need support. At first, we might excuse this as a personality trait, but over time, if these behaviors form a pattern, it's no longer accidental. Your role is not to fix them. Your responsibility is to protect yourself. Set boundaries. Guard your peace. Choose to invest your energy in relationships where empathy flows both ways. If someone repeatedly shows you they do not care about your emotional world, believe them. And remember, walking away from a cold heart isn't selfish, it's self-respect. 3. Manipulative behavior. Manipulation is one of the most subtle and dangerous behaviors you can encounter. It often doesn't start with overt control or cruelty. Instead, it hides beneath kind words, flattery, or carefully crafted concern. But over time, you begin to feel confused, unsure of your thoughts, and increasingly dependent on someone else's approval or interpretation of reality. This is no coincidence. A manipulative person's goal is not connection, it's control. From a Stoic perspective, manipulation is especially harmful because it targets the very core of what Stoicism teaches us to protect: our mind, our perception, and our inner freedom. The Stoics valued clarity above comfort. They believe that only through seeing the world as it truly is can we respond with reason and virtue. A common tactic manipulators use is gaslighting, making you question your memory, your feelings, even your sanity. They may deny things you clearly remember, twist your words, or shift blame back onto you. For example, you confront them about something hurtful they said. Instead of listening, they say you're too sensitive or that you misunderstood them. Over time, this chips away at your self-trust. They may also play the victim, often turning every situation around to make you feel guilty. A friend might say, "If you cared about me, you'd do this," using your empathy against you. These guilt trips are not rooted in a genuine emotional connection. They are tools to bend your will. Manipulators can be charming when it benefits them. They'll compliment you, support you, and seem endlessly kind, but only when they want something. Over time, you may notice that their affection is conditional. Their kindness comes with strings attached. Some go even further, isolating you from friends and family. They might say, "Your family doesn't understand you like I do," or subtly sow doubt about your closest relationships. This isolation is not about love or protection. It's about weakening your support system, making you easier to control. Financial manipulation is another form. A partner who controls the money decides what you can or can't spend and creates dependence. The Stoics emphasized self-sufficiency and independence. A life governed by the will of another, especially through deceit or fear, is a life removed from freedom. What makes manipulation so insidious is that it can take time to see clearly. That's why the Stoics teach vigilance. Epictetus said, "We must not believe too quickly nor too easily. Observe first, then act." So what can you do? First, pause and observe. Do their actions match their words? Do you feel more grounded after interacting with them, or more confused? Are they taking responsibility or shifting it? Second, set boundaries, calmly, clearly, and consistently. A manipulator may push back, guilt trip, or even lash out. But as Stoics, we are reminded we cannot control others, only our response. Most importantly, reclaim your inner space. You're allowed to trust yourself. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to walk away from people who twist your truth for their gain. Manipulation thrives in silence and confusion, but when you stand firm in clarity and integrity, its power begins to fade. 4. Controlling behavior control, when disguised as care, can be one of the most suffocating forms of manipulation. It doesn't always look like force. Often, it presents itself as protection, concern, or even love. But underneath the surface lies something else: the desire to dominate, to shape your actions, thoughts, and choices according to someone else's will. At first, it may seem harmless. A friend insists on choosing where you go, what you do, and what you eat. They say things like, "Trust me, I know what's best," or "You'll enjoy it more this way." And maybe, in the beginning, you go along. But gradually, you start to feel your preferences being ignored. Your voice becomes quieter. You begin to doubt your own decisions. The Stoics believed deeply in autonomy, not just freedom from external chains, but inner independence. Epictetus taught that no one should govern your thoughts, your values, or your choices. A controlling person violates that sacred space, often without raising their voice. In relationships, controlling behavior becomes even more dangerous. It may begin with small requests for updates, but soon escalates to constant surveillance. They might ask for access to your phone, your passwords, or monitor your social interactions. What appears to be interest or caring too much is, in truth, a form of domination that erodes trust and peace of mind. They might isolate you, slowly but intentionally. Your friends don't care about you. Your family is toxic. These are not just comments, they are strategies. The more isolated you become, the easier you are to control. Stoicism teaches us that we are social beings, meant to thrive in communities and supportive relationships. When someone pulls you away from those connections, they are not protecting you, they are weakening you. Control can also manifest in financial forms. A partner who insists on managing all the money, who questions every purchase, or makes you ask for what's rightfully yours. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that personal integrity includes the ability to manage one's affairs wisely. When someone uses money as a tool to control, it's not about responsibility, it's about power. Perhaps the most alarming aspect of controlling behavior is how it instills fear. You may feel like you're always walking on eggshells, afraid of triggering anger, guilt, or rejection. You begin to shape your choices not from your own will, but from fear of how they might react. This is not love. This is not care. It's oppression in disguise. The Stoics call us to courage. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is a slave to fear." To reclaim your freedom, you must first recognize the fear and then face it. So what can you do? First, notice the pattern. Is your autonomy shrinking? Are you hesitating to make choices for yourself? Are you sacrificing your well-being just to keep the peace? Second, set boundaries, calmly, firmly, and repeatedly if necessary. Don't be surprised if they resist. Control rarely yields easily, but your peace is worth the discomfort. Finally, return to your inner compass. The Stoics remind us, our power lies in what we can control, our thoughts, our responses, and our values. No one has the right to take that away from you. To be free is not just to move, but to think, choose wisely, and live with dignity. 5. Pathological lying. Lying is something most people do occasionally, small distortions of truth, often to avoid discomfort. But pathological lying is something entirely different. It is persistent, habitual, and deeply destructive. A pathological liar doesn't just lie when it's convenient. They live as a way of being. These individuals fabricate stories with ease. They exaggerate achievements, invent experiences, and manipulate facts, often without any clear reason. Sometimes they lie even when the truth would serve them better. And over time, this creates a reality where you can no longer distinguish fact from fiction. To the Stoics, truth was sacred. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change, for I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone." Pathological lying violates this ideal. It's not just dishonesty, it's a rejection of reason, clarity, and the pursuit of virtue. At first, these lies may seem harmless, perhaps even entertaining. A person who always has a dramatic story, someone who seems to have lived an extraordinary life. But as the inconsistencies pile up, you begin to feel unsettled. Something doesn't add up. And when you begin to question them, they become defensive, angry, or twist the story once again to protect the illusion. This form of deception erodes one of the most essential foundations of any relationship: trust. You begin to doubt not just what they say, but your memory, your instincts. This confusion is not accidental, it's part of the control. In the workplace, pathological liars might steal credit, spread false rumors, or fabricate achievements. In personal relationships, they may lie about their past, their feelings, or even their daily actions. The goal is not simply to mislead, it's to maintain control over the narrative and, by extension, over you. The Stoics encourage us to stay grounded in reality. Epictetus warned against being swept away by appearances and urged us to examine things as they are. A pathological liar creates a world of shadows where nothing is stable and your peace of mind is constantly under threat. So, how do you protect yourself? First, listen to your discomfort. When something feels off, don't dismiss it. Stoic vigilance means staying awake, not allowing charm or habit to blind you. Ask questions. Observe patterns. Are there contradictions? Do their stories change? Do you always feel the need to fact check or clarify? Second, respond with integrity. Do not match lies with lies. Speak your truth, calmly and clearly. And when needed, draw a line. Seneca reminded us, associate with those who will make you better. You are not obligated to remain in a connection where deceit is the norm. Most importantly, protect your peace. Lies, when repeated and unchecked, corrode not just trust, but your sense of reality. The Stoics teach us that inner tranquility is possible only when we live in harmony with truth. If you find yourself constantly questioning what's real or walking in circles within someone else's shifting story, it may be time to step back. You deserve relationships built on clarity, not confusion, on honesty, not illusion. We've just walked through 5 clear signs of an evil person, not to judge or condemn, but to recognize, to understand, and most importantly, to protect your peace. In life, you can't control who enters your path, but you can always choose who stays in your circle. Evil doesn't always come in obvious forms. It can arrive dressed in charm, humor, or affection, until one day you realize you're being manipulated, controlled, or quietly diminished. Stoic philosophy doesn't teach us to avoid hardship. It teaches us to stand tall in the midst of it with reason, awareness, and self-respect. And one of the first steps towards strength is learning how to set boundaries. Boundaries are not a wall, they are a declaration of self-worth. When you say no to what hurts you, you are saying yes to your freedom, your dignity, and your inner clarity. If someone in your life constantly makes you feel wrong, small, or not enough, take a step back. Not out of weakness, but because you're beginning to see clearly. You don't need to exhaust yourself maintaining a relationship that's draining you. You have every right to walk away, not in anger, but in wisdom. And if something in this message gave you relief, gave you clarity, gave you space to breathe, honor that. Let it guide you. Subscribe to Stoic Vault, a place where calm thinking replaces chaos and where strength is built from within. Here, you won't find empty motivation or quick fixes. You'll find space to reflect, to grow, and to build inner resilience, one step at a time. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. Take a breath, slow down, observe more deeply, and always remember, no one can take your peace unless you permit them. I'll see you in the next video, right here on Stoic Vault.